Autumn has arrived in Forever Valley, and with it, a new story begins. In the previous episode, Moira became human and began to explore what that means for her. She also encountered typical teenage hormones, and the person she felt comfortable exploring them with was Leon. Although he didn't reject her advances, he didn't encourage them either. The girl knew he found her attractive, so she had to find out why he didn't want more. With the children growing rapidly and needing more space for their privacy and hobbies, Chara and Dave decided to invest some of the money they saved in an expansion of the house, leaving the ground floor for common areas and adding a floor for bedrooms, so that each family member has their own privacy. Chara has noticed Moira's constant search for tastes, hobbies, or trying out new devices. She wonders if that search will expand further or if it will only be while she experiences things from a human perspective. She tries to talk to the girl about various topics, to let her know she can come to her with any questions she may have. Moira knows this and is grateful to her, although she hasn't expressed her biggest doubt to anyone yet. Before being a doll and imaginary friend, was she something more? Did she have a previous life? Or was that how she was born? Chara checks on their grocery store from time to time. The store only opens a couple of times a week because the current employee doesn't live in the city and therefore can't commute every day. Of course, with Amelie Rousseau as the only other resident, it's not necessary to stay open longer than necessary. Franco's writing is gaining popularity despite his young age. His imaginative storytelling makes up for his lack of life experience. For his part, Leon continues to improve his logic, searching for stars in the sky despite the cloudy days of autumn. He also stood outside in the cold to give his parents and privacy on their anniversary. The couple tried something new for their anniversary. Chara and Dave still can't believe how much they've done in all their years together. Perhaps the city is in its infancy, but it's progressed further than they expected. Despite that, they think it's time to expand it a little further, in the form of a new resident. In addition to logic, Leon also continues his interest in painting. His style is somewhat exotic, thanks to his neurotic nature. But people seem to be enjoying this vein, and his paintings have started selling for good prices. Moira continues to care for the plants. She may not have Chara's green thumb, but they give her a sense of calm when she works with them that she doesn't feel at other times. She's a loner, but she has no problem spending time with Leon, or sneaking glances at him when he's exercising. With Moira helping with the garden and their children busy with their hobbies, Chara and Dave have some free time to enjoy a well-deserved break. After all the hard work they've done, they deserve it. Having grown up together, Leon and Moira often find themselves seeking each other's company, although they still enjoy their individual spaces. Chara watches them from the table and thinks there might be more than friendship between them, though it hasn't changed into anything more yet. Would she look like a very nosy mother if she tried to help them get together? Dave tells her he'd rather let them figure it out. The woman took advantage of the moment they were working together to tell Moira she could ask her for advice if she wanted. The girl thought she was talking about gardening. Jogging is a good way to clear his mind of unnecessary thoughts and focus on what's important. What to do about his situation with Moira? Leon knows what his friend wants, and if he's honest with himself, it's the same thing he wants. But is it worth risking their current friendship? But that's a topic for another day. Now it's time to celebrate Franco's birthday, who was so eager to become a teenager that he couldn't wait for the cake and wanted to grow up right away. His resemblance to his mother is even more noticeable now that he is a teen. Although his birthday wasn't the only one that day, the newspaper boy also grew into a teenager, under the watchful eyes of Amelie and Forever Valley's new neighbor Brad Curley. Franco thought he could make a friend, but unfortunately the next day the boy moved away from the town permanently. But being the successful writer he is becoming, Franco capitalized on the moment to write a drama book. Although collecting and cutting gems is no longer necessary to earn money, Chara still does it for fun. It's truly become her favorite hobby, and some of them look good as decoration. Dave heard from his wife many times about the time she was abducted by aliens. He never thought he'd go through the same thing himself. At least this time there weren't a robber and a policeman getting into a fist fight and ignoring the abductee. Moira grew tired of waiting for Leon to make a decision, so she did. There was a chance he might reject her, but she wanted to finally know if there could be something more between them. Luckily, he accepted her advances and let her kiss him without a problem. She celebrated the moment enthusiastically, and Leon indulged her. Moira wasted no time and asked him right there to start dating, lest he start to worry because of his neurotic trait. And we're going to pretend that all this time we didn't see Dave taking a bath in the background. Leon made breakfast, and it was so delicious that he wanted to hold a souvenir of his success. Dave preferred to look at his plate and not comment on the one stuck in his son's hand. Franco decided to make his own breakfast. It's nothing against his brother, but he doesn't trust a dish that can cut through his hands like a knife, even though Leon assures us it's not painful. Dave invited the new neighbor to hang out, and he gladly accepted. But as he was inviting him in, the man received a mysterious call, which forced him to return home for an emergency. Dave thought Brad lived alone, but apparently not. He'd have to ask him the next time he saw him. The next time he saw Brad was at Leon and Moira's birthday party, so he couldn't ask about the emergency he'd had. Dave was genuinely intrigued. He was also a little annoyed with his guests, as both Brad and Amelie had headed straight to the hot tub and weren't at the party until it was time to blow out the candles. But no matter what he thought of his guests, the most important thing that night was that both Leon and Moira were growing into young adults. When it came time to choose her lifetime wish, Moira didn't know exactly what she wanted, so she ended up choosing perfect mind, perfect body without knowing if it really is her thing. But she's still young and can change it later. For his part, Leon has known for a long time what he wants to be: a Renaissance sim. In the previous episode, Tom confessed to Amelie that he wanted their relationship to get more serious. She asked him for some time to think about it, and he told her to take the time she needed. The woman preferred to spend that time painting. Her head was never her strong suit, and thinking analytically isn't something she wants to do, especially when it comes to something as important as matters of the heart. She continued with her routine, taking care of her son, cleaning the house, taking some photos, and continuing painting. The best thing she could do was wait for her heart to make up its own mind. Tom continued delivering the mail around town, usually at the Nothing's house first so he could spend time with his son. One time, the rain was so heavy that Amelie immediately went outside to ask him to come inside. That day was the moment Amelie realized she wanted Tom in her life every day, and not just for her son. It seemed like any other moment, but while she was cooking a late breakfast, Tom took Andre and began teaching him how to talk, standing in her way and preventing her from cooking. The scene was so domestic that Amelie felt a gentle warmth rise through her body. As she immortalized Tom's devotion to their son, the woman reflected that not all love has to be sudden and revolutionize everything, as she had believed growing up. Sometimes it can be gentle and soft, growing little by little like a spring sun. So having found the answer she was looking for, Amelie asked Tom to move in with them. The loving hug he gave her was affirmation that she was doing the right thing. The woman wanted to share the news with her followers immediately. After moving in with Amelie, Tom had to give up his mail carrier job. His girlfriend told him to seize the moment and do the things he's always wanted to do. Playing guitar was one of those things. It feels strange to receive mail instead of delivering it. But even stranger, though nicer, is having gotten what he wanted. This quiet life with Amelie and their son. There's no better feeling. For now, his only audience apart from his family is the stray dog that sometimes visits the house. Tom and Amelie tried to adopt him a couple of times, but the dog seems to enjoy the untethered life he leads. The man doesn't know if the barking is a good sign or not about his music. Their son is still young, but despite that he already knows how to block them when they want to enjoy each other. Now they understand why other parents put their children to sleep first. There's nothing like enjoying a warm autumn day with the family, in the place where Amelie spent so many fun moments. Tom is very happy to be part of those. One benefit of having Tom in the house is that they can share the chores, which gives Amelie more time to paint, and therefore she can start earning more. What the man doesn't understand is his girlfriend's fascination with gnomes. What exactly is the one residing in the garden doing? Who knows? He certainly doesn't. Amelie wants to immortalize her family in paintings. She doesn't consider painting herself using the still life method as cheating, because she waited until level 7 to do so, which is when portraits are unlocked. Tom is still excited, and he even found a way to celebrate without Andre falling to the ground. Knowing he won't make any simoleons from music in such an empty town, the man spends his evenings collecting metals and gems. After Chara nothing told him it was a good way to make money. His child's birthday deserves one of his typical cheering. The couple preferred to celebrate privately as there was no room for guests in the house. There would be other birthdays to celebrate in style. Andre grew up with an artistic affinity, perhaps influenced by watching his mother paint. He also looks a lot like his mom, who at that very moment received an invitation to hang out with Dave. Amelie declined. She had important people in her life to hang out with now. With a son already in the child stage, the need for money to enlarge the house became pressing. Gathering collectibles in the ancient ruins, Tom realized there was a strange energy there. Apparently there were several energy points that made things levitate. Perhaps it was this that made him feel a special connection with the spotted sixum. Or perhaps it was the bird's beautiful plumage. Whatever the reason, Tom decided to keep the animal instead of selling it. Luckily, the money gained from Tom's collectibles and Amelie's paintings was enough to enlarge the house, adding 2 rooms and even buying a cage for the new pet. And with the first snowfall announcing the end of autumn, we bid farewell to the Rousseaus until the next episode. People who know Brad Curley often describe him as a bohemian, and the young man agrees. After finishing school, Brad spent almost all the money his parents had given him on a trip to Egypt, where he enjoyed the pleasures of the women and men he met there. Once his curiosity was satisfied, he decided to move to Forever Valley, to live a life away from the hustle and bustle of the big cities. He brought with him his ideas for healthy, homemade food, so growing his own produce will be a task he will gladly undertake. To support himself, he plans to make money playing guitar in Stony Falls. While in Egypt, he learned it was a popular tourist destination, so he will give them good music while enjoying the scenery. The perfect plan for his simple life. A simple life that will soon be interrupted by the arrival of Nora R.A., a beautiful married woman he met in Egypt, with whom he had, as she herself said, an indiscretion that would never happen again. He had agreed and they never saw each other again. So he wonders what she was doing here. The woman got straight to the point. After all, there was a reason she'd traveled to Forever Valley to find Brad. She was pregnant and the father was the young man in front of her. She was sure because at the time of the child's conception, her husband was away on business, and the only man she'd been with at the time was Brad. She can't keep the child because her husband would find out about her indiscretion, and she, who never wanted children, doesn't want to ruin her marriage for a baby she never wanted. But before making any decision, she wanted to let Brad know in case he wanted to keep the child. Brad, who always took life as it came, thought for just a second and decided he wanted the child with him. He believes everything happens for a reason, and if this is what he's going through today, he'll accept it as a work of the universe. Brad and Nora reached an agreement. She would live with him until the baby was born. Time away from home wouldn't be a problem, since both she and her husband travel for work often and for months at a time. And if their days together feature more indiscretions, well, Brad isn't opposed to that happening. Brad continued practicing his guitar, now with an audience that seemed to appreciate his efforts. He also continued to care for his plants that would soon bear some tasty lettuce and tomatoes. The grapes needed a little more time. When he had enough experience with the guitar, the young man went to Stony Falls to play for the first time. Unfortunately, he didn't get a single tip. Perhaps this wasn't the best way to make money, especially now that he was about to become a father. But he didn't want to abandon his plan. To top it all off, he had an unpleasant visitor that night, who not only stole one of his stools but also his toilet. He couldn't understand why the thieves were so obsessed with that object. Luckily, the police arrived in time when the burglar was leaving and were able to arrest her and return all stolen items. The second time Brad played in Stony Falls, he had no luck with tips again, despite there being more tourists this time than the last. This brought him down a bit because he wanted to buy his child's crib with the money he could make from the guitar, but he ended up using the little funds he had to do it. Living with Nora was peaceful. She spent hours reading and helping him with chores. And since this was a temporary arrangement, she didn't interfere in Brad's decisions about the baby. On the day his child was due to arrive, Brad stayed home with Nora to help her with whatever she needed. By help he means screaming like crazy and stressing the expectant mother even more. And so came the first girl born in Forever Valley. Willa was born a genius, and from the kicks she gave Nora in the stomach, Brad was sure she would be athletic too. Nora placed Willa in the crib, and a stroke on her tiny head bid the baby girl farewell. She left with peace of mind knowing she had made the right decision when she gave Brad the option to keep the baby. With a warm hug for the young man, the woman left their lives. Was it for good? Both she and Brad believed so, but life can change. Now it was just the two of them, but the man was sure it would be a great adventure for them. Like the adventure of going to play guitar with a baby in tow and winning the first Simoleons. Brad knew the universe is never wrong. Here's a little explanation of the challenge Brad is doing. It's called the Random Legacy Challenge, and it basically involves playing different aspects of the game with rules that are decided randomly. For each generation you have to roll the dice or use the app that the challenge creators kindly made. These are marital status, number of children, career, generational goal, miscellaneous fun. In Brad's case he will be doing single parent, one child, busker, which is playing any instrument for tips. The opportunist. You have to take advantage of every opportunity presented to you, except for travel and fame ones. Homemade. They can only eat cooked food and the produce must be in the refrigerator. Fruits, vegetables, and fish must be harvested or caught by Sims. This can be done outdoors or at home. The challenge link is in the description in case you want to know more about it. I also have a question for you. Would you like me to do a technical video on how I play Forever World? It would cover the setup, mods, the world, how I rotate, and perhaps also my inspiration for writing the story. It wouldn't fit into the established schedule for the series, so it wouldn't interrupt that flow. It would also take me several hours to do, so it wouldn't be for next week. Leave a comment if you're interested. And if you got this far and liked the video, please like and subscribe.
Until next time, bye!